Hi, good day. My name is György Blazsovszky. I'm from the Hungarian air navigation service provider. I'm working as a telecommunication system development engineer, but I'm involved in lots of UTM-related standardization at Eurocao also. I would like to talk about iConspicuity in a general aviation point of view and also related for the drone systems. As you can see, three different parts I would like to talk. First of all, it's a briefing, so it's like a planning for a mission, even for a drone, even for a pilot. From my point of view, that's the most important part, to collect all the information related for the flights or the mission you would like to use or fly. Secondly, what does it mean, advanced air mobility? So you would like to take off, go wherever you wish, even crossing the border, you would like to be visible for the others. In general aviation also, and for the UTM, for the U-Space, we got a visual line of sight, which from my point of view, it's a little bit hard to fly with it. For 5 kilometers, even hard to detect the gliders front of me if I'm flying. So if like one of the UTM or a drone is flying above 500 meters, it's really hard to follow them by eyes and by sight. And the last part of my presentation would be how can I make myself visible, so iConspicuity, and ELSA talks like conspicuity, so make yourself as electronically visible for others, so broadcast the information who you are. In Hungarocontrol, we got a so-called net briefing system, free of charge after registration for use, not only for pilots, anyone can see the airspace information and some other useful meteorological data for it. We got statical and dynamical data for the airspaces also. It doesn't show you the tracks and the flights itself, it's just a briefing. When you are opening up like Google Maps, you can't see the traffic itself, that the cars are moving, but you can have information about the roads and traffic informations. In the net briefing system, that's how it shows for a pilot. If I would like to fly from Hungary to Trenčín, it also can see the terrain data and the airspace structure for these flights. Just a couple of clicks, you can plan the flights, and it's generating all the flight logs it's needed, like in the Google Maps, where you need to turn, which speed you can have, and the arrival of the destination. In aviation, we need to communicate with the air traffic controllers or with office services. We need to have different frequencies, need to talk, and that's in a global database. It's fetching and it's provided for all of the pilots. Also, if you are a drone operator, you can get this information free of charge. You can generate this briefing as the same. Like for general aviators, it's not necessary to send a flight plan for approval if it's like in an open airspace, but it's mandatory to send a flight plan for approval if you would like to get some kind of emergency service after that. So that's a very old flight planning format that the pilot needs to send. Also, the airliners are sending this. For the drone operators, they have different authorization process, but at the end, they will send their wishes for the authorization at the end. You can see from your flight plans that if you got a green light, it means the ANSP has approved your flight. If you are crossing the border, of course, the other ANSP will get this information and they will distribute it back. Yes, you are allowed to fly, you are welcome. We got so-called My Drone Space for the drone users. It's the same briefing and also for operating a drone. You are reserving so-called drone zones inside an airspace. Physically, you are still reserving the airspace, but for legal point of view, that's your playing area. We are not tracking your drones yet. So you can expect inside this drone zone that there might be some activity. What's the hard for a pilot point of view? To check these airspaces. Drone operators are flying in meters and starting from ground level. But for aviators are flying above means sea level, and usually in Europe in feet. Okay, the pilots are never counting with the terrain data that, okay, if a drone is starting from top of the hill, 120 meters, and then it's following a curve down. That how a drone used to stay inside the drone zones. That's why we are making in the briefing visualized with the terrain data and inside the reserved area that you can expect some drone activities inside there. And also for the drone operators need to be in a visual contact around this drone zone. They are responsible for separations within them. So when we are planning your flights, you got the authorization. So you are happy within your limits that you can start your flight. The next step, not only to showing your playground as a drone user, but you need to be visible for the other traffics. Today, I can't see any examples that in any ATM system there have been implemented any trackings for the drones. Some tests ongoing like ADS-B lights and so on, but they are not put into the live operation. So-called OG and FLARM systems are using the same broadcasted information, but on a different monitor, and is unofficial. What we are trying to use and testing will be started soon, that we would like to use mobile technology to discover the airspace coverage for the telecommunication service provider. So whatever you have your USB sticks, you can put onto the drone and you can fly it. No one is guaranteeing the coverage data because no one has done a flight test before. Even the operators changing cells, upgrading their networks, it's like a daily operation for them. Even in the European countries providing U-space telecom services, they never validated this. They can see, yeah, most certainty you will use it. You can use it and you will get some kind of services. They're not guaranteed. So mobile operators just testing a car, put an antenna on top of it, and 1.5 meters height, they can just validating their network, but never done it on the higher airspace. What is used for the mobile technology? And GSMA consortium or association, they are suggesting to use this technology because every user is identified with a SIM card, so they can have a person and a subscription behind that. If you use OG and FLARM or ADS-B, it's not necessary to be registered. Anyone can use it. But behind a SIM card, in Europe at least, you need to go into the telecom operator, you need to show your ID, and you need to validate yourself. What's hard in the mobile technology is the continuous adaptation from 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. So you need to adapt, for example, for your drone to update your mobile technology, the chipset itself. Benefit for it, you doesn't need to have a transponder code to pass a country or like a flight information region, because in the MSISDN number or in the SIM card in the IMSI, it's a unique by global. So it's already accepted if you are traveling foreign. No one is asking what's your scope, what's your transponder code when you are driving and talking in a foreign countries. They let them in after an authorization to their network. What's another benefit? It's very light and it can be put on any small devices also and can operate a couple of hours also. Like a transponder, the peak value is almost 200 watts for each couple of seconds, so it's unable to fit for each of the drones, or at least for the drone, small drones itself. For EASA, they started this iConspicuity or iConspicuity regulation. So inside the use space, you need to be visible. I would like to suggest to everyone that not only for the use space, but in general aviation, shall be visible to avoid a conflict. It's not a mandatory, but I wish to have make you visible in case you are a cooperative drone user. Not only you need to broadcast your location or position information in a safe, secure, or integrated way, but also iConspicuity means that an online data like weather information needs to be available for the users, drone users, or general aviator users. For this, we started to develop a mobile application based on the net briefing system that it can be carried on, like for a gliders or a general aviators, where the all online airspace data and necessary information is available. Live tracking, it's a little bit tricky to share because of political issue. There are operators who doesn't want to be visible, like for example some military or other agency doesn't want to be visible, so it's under negotiation who shall be filtered the tracking system or not. First of all, we would like to use this app as not a mandatory but as a safety tool, that if the pilot would like to make themselves visible, then they will broadcast the information via their mobile device and they can share the information via this application. So only your traffic will be visible, what you are sharing, not the live traffic. That's what you have the flight information service informing you. This tool is not yet certified. This will be under test environment. So that's how it looks like in a night vision, and then it's a day vision. So if you are using in a night VFR, then you wouldn't be blinded. I would like to emphasize that's only test information because we would like to validate the coverage of the Hungarian airspace about which level it's available, the telecom services. So that's why it's under test. If we have quite good coverage data and a quite good feedback that it can be used, then we will initiate towards to ELSA, the so-called electronic flight briefing tool. Then, after the certification, we need to create a process inside the ANSP that this tool can be used also for traffic sharing between each others. What's the problem with this tool? This is using also GNSS data also. Only one information. In aviation, as an ANSP, we are not trusting the GNSS because we are not controlling it. There is a war next to our country, and also in EASA, a safety bulletin don't use on the eastern side of Hungary. It's not allowed also. So for this is the first time we will see the gaps from the coming from the mobile device and, for example, from a general aviator transponder, and we can compare the deviation with it. And the next step will be that we can make an integration tool in case there is a deviation detected by our services, then we will upload the position data to the aircraft, to the mobile data where it is. So that's what I used to say, in case has service availability, we can make safe, secure and integrated way sharing your information, broadcast information. This is how it looks like, the information in case what is planned, so what you sent in a flight plan, what actually you are doing, and when the service is not available. That's quite crucial because in case you lost the connection data and would like to follow up the airspace data, you need to know that what you are seeing is valid or not. So we doesn't want to show to the pilot that some information like it's fake. So we would like to show only those information which is valid and trusted. So still needs traffic controller or air service provider behind this model. We got the API interfaces that can be implemented inside the drones so they can avoid those airspaces which is not allowed to fly, and they can broadcast their own data. The same, they can send the flight plan and they can start to operate with the MyDrone space and then sharing the informations. We got the official terrain data also to avoid the terrains. We got the latest METAR information. Location sharing. That's another open issue, that if you doesn't have a registered device like a drone, it's a toy, how you can share your information, which identity you can use it. We put as a track label that you can type 7 characters, whatever, it's my drone and so on. That's unique for you. And you can select that you would like to be visible as a balloon or a drone, as, for example, as a normal glider. And that icon will be visible for the others. Okay, it will be a little bit strange that a balloon will fly 120 knots, so it means someone is playing a trick, and that will be seen for the others. But at least you will show you that you are a cooperative one and you would like to share the information with this. We would like to share the traffic information about your aircraft identification if you have like a SCOG or you got your own track label. So that will be visible for others. We got the position data, so latitude and longitude data. We got the speed and altitude that's based on your GNSS. So this is not like what we can trust. So that's a data we will broadcast and then we will validate it. Altitude, which is like a true altitude, which is useful for general aviators, because we can see the separation if it's the drone or other users are below or above me. Vario means that someone is climbing on level or descending, so what we can expect during the traffic or during the flight. And one of the most critical one is the validity of your data. If the data you are sending, last one is like more than 4 seconds, then we are dropping this data. It means it's too old to make decision for it. So in this case, if your mobile data is unable to send your position within 5 seconds, you won't be visible for the others. That's why it means we lost the connections, we don't know where you are, that's you need traffic services. And then we will provide also tracking history. It's the last 1 minute that you can see the guys on traffic pattern, or it's on en route, or they are staying only around the hospital level. So that's it, that you can avoid certain situations. And the meteorological data, it's coming from the Hungarian Met Service provider. It's almost real-time data. For example, in the central picture, you can see the rain precipitations coming from the radar. It needs to be measured, and this needs to be processed, and then needs to be distributed towards the pilots. The quickest one is around 5 minutes data. As we know, in summer times, you got the storms, 5 minutes, it's already passed. So that's what we used to say. We will have a timestamp on it, that okay, this data is like 5 minutes old, you need to check it and follow it. But you can see the progress, at least for the radar, based on the radar data, the clouds where it's moving and the hazards how it's moving, so you can avoid it. The warning overview, it's, as you can see, based on the base level green, yellow or red. That's by general aviators, that you are able to fly without any hazards, and that's the green, so it's a green light, you can go within the limit. If it's in a yellow color, it means there are some kind of hazards over the limit. It depends of your practices and depends of your limits. You can decide, you can take over those areas. On red area, we are not recommending to fly inside. We are not yet implemented as an API to implement into the drone, because this is like in above 500 feet. So for this, we need a so-called drone meteorological system, which can provide below 500 feet those data, wind profiles, and so on, those data. On the separate layers, you can check not all the whole overview, but you can check the visibility, cloud-based freezing level. So depends of the warning limits, you can see that's only like rain is coming or the visibility is the limits. Like for helicopters, 10 meters is not a problem, they can just hovering slowly down. But for general aviators, like a small piston aircraft, it's almost impossible to fly with VFR conditions. Also, we got the official METARs for the pilots, they can read it, and we got the AIP charts, as you mentioned. It's mostly in ANSPs are providing as in a PDF format. So, for example, for any VFR approach, one of our airport, you can see was the basic traffic patterns, obstacle clearance, and so on. We are planning to do AXM5 upgrade, which will be an XML format, and it will be more useful for the drone operators. But at least this can be used in Europe. This AIP, you can select your country, and you can check the cross-border part also about these available official data. So for ecosystems, for iConspicuity, the next plan is to make operational end of this year, at least starting with this mobile application. We already have the MyDroneSpace, and we got the authority console that the authority can see the airspaces and the users from both sides, from pilot point of view and for unmanned aircraft point of view. You can use it also in Slovakia. We got some Slovakian official terrain data also, and we got also static data. We doesn't have the flexible used airspace, dynamic airspace, but ANSP can help you via the flight. So in case you have questions, I do have the application, so if you would like to use it, you can test it. I can give you for it. Thank you very much.